Morning, YouTube. I'm going to the gym. I'm a little bit late. It's 6:34 in the morning. Usually I try to leave. I always try. Usually I do. Usually I succeed. But usually I leave at before 6:30 in the morning because after 6:30 there's a few school buses on my route that are already making stops, picking people up. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer trip than I would like, unfortunately. And that kind of just is what it is. Today has already gotten off on the wrong foot, also, unfortunately. So, yeah. Some life updates. Let's see, last vlog we were talking about the Mexico trip, and I think I pretty much told that story as much as I could. So this weekend, my wife and I, well, we have a lot of plans, but it seems like they're probably going to be ruined. We were going to go on a date night to this nice seafood place in Croton, near where we live, and my wife's parents were going to come and watch the boy, we would have been able to go on a date night alone, which never happens. We've been on one before since my son was born, which was a lot of fun, and, we tend to still have fun together, my wife and I, which is nice. And, her parents were going to come watch the baby and visit, as I said, and it was going to be nice. It was going to be fun. I love my in-laws. I'm very fortunate in that I got a great set of in-laws. Couldn't ask for better ones, honestly. Obviously, there are some aspects of everyone's personality that, no one's perfect. You never get along perfectly with everyone. But, I've, come to a point, and it's kind of necessary as an adult in 2024 in America, I guess. If you want to have a thriving social life, you need to be able to hang out with people who you are not 100% like-minded with. This is a bit of a tangent. I'm not completely ideologically opposed to my in-laws. But just to say that obviously nothing's perfect, but I did get a fantastic set of in-laws. I hear people complaining about their in-laws all the time, and I hear these stories about intrusive and overbearing mother-in-laws who guilt trip and who need to see the kids, and once the kids come out they make a whole thing about it, and they're constantly giving unsolicited advice. But we have not had that experience in the slightest little bit. They have been nothing but helpful, accommodating, and largely respectful of boundaries. I am extremely pleased, as I said, with my in-law situation. And I like when they come to visit, spending time with them. That's a big fucking thing, right? Granted, after a few days, I'm ready to be alone again, but my sisters come and I'm ready for them to leave after a few days. And I love them so much and love spending time with them. I have a wonderful time with my siblings, and I'm done with anyone after a few days, except for my son and my wife to a lesser degree. Anyway, we had these plans. My wife went to personal training on Wednesday, one of her many extracurricular activities that she engages in after work, none of which I love because all of them extend my, baby watching shift by a few hours, but, I try to let her do as much as she wants to do, because it's important to her, and, fitness is important, and I know she doesn't have a lot of time for herself. I understand that her time working is the time that I'm watching the baby, and that may seem like break time to me, and in many ways it is. She gets to sit down and eat at her own pace without, being hassled by the baby, which is nice. But in many ways it isn't. And also the value that she brings to the table with, the job that she has offers us, it enables us to have the lifestyle that we have, and enables us to do so many things that we want to do. The school buses are not here right now. Maybe I left oh, there it is. There's the bus. Anyway, so she went to personal training on Wednesday. She's 5 months pregnant, by the way. Like, why is she going to personal training? I'm not trying to be fucking like, the pregnant can't do anything, but like, I don't know. It just seems, if it were me, right? Because it's not, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna avoid making any like statements that are judgmental of her decision making, because I don't understand what it's like to be a woman, or to be a pregnant woman, or to be my wife. If it were me, I would spend the whole pregnancy time just like doing like zone 2 cardio only, and then afterwards I would go crazy with the lifting and everything. But like during the pregnancy time I wouldn't. But she wants to lift and she wants to do the PT. The person that she sees is not really like certified, I think, which is another reason that it concerns me a little bit. And I'm trying to respect like my wife's judgment on autonomy as much as I can. Obviously also like it's not my place to give her permission to go. Like, she's gonna go if she wants to go. But like, this person isn't a certified personal trainer, which means that she's definitely not a certified personal trainer of the pregnant, you know? Like, if she's not certified at all, then she's definitely not certified to accommodate a pregnant person. So like, that concerns me a little bit, you know? Like, she doesn't know what exercises like would potentially be unsafe for my wife. Anyway, my wife went there on Wednesday and she got a text from the lady yesterday that was like, so I've got COVID, and my wife was like, yeah, she wasn't feeling well when I saw her Wednesday. So my wife's probably going to get COVID, and I'm probably going to get COVID. Yes, I'm going to the gym. I'm a terrible, unethical boy. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm pulling into a gas station so that I can cut this bus and the red light. So I'm just a fucking unethical outlaw bad boy today. You guys might witness me getting pulled over right now. Wouldn't that be fun? Woohoo! Ha 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 ha! I win. There's the second bus. There are two. So now I'm only behind one of them. Yeah, so it sucks, because, like, you may think I'm jumping to conclusions here, but my wife's already not feeling well, she says, and my wife may be a hypochondriac in many ways, but, like, she says she's getting sick, and she just saw someone who is, like, now completely bedridden with the cove, you know, and she's probably gonna get real sick. And here I am going to the gym, about to pass some germs to people. Don't judge me. I haven't had a real fucking gym day in a long time. I'm not going to fucking touch anyone. I'll clean everything I touch. I've got a fucking mask in here somewhere. I'm not going to wear it. No one watches these. No one gives a shit. Watch, this is going to be the one that fucking blows up and gets me canceled. Deplatform this man. Yeah, so it fucking sucks. I was looking forward to this weekend so much, and like, it is in all likelihood completely not gonna happen now. And like, ultimately what that means, we've got a nice 3-day weekend coming up, and that nice 3-day weekend is about to be 3 days of me either being sick or watching the baby while my wife is completely bedridden, which, like, I love my son and I love spending time with him, and I am so grateful and appreciative of like the fact that I am able to do that. That like I'm able to be effectively a stay-at-home dad is really, I mean, it's what I've wanted. It has kind of like been my goal for like a long time. But I could still use a break every once in a while. And what it seems like to me is that I'm probably not gonna get one. And that sucks. It really sucks. Because, like, as much as I love spending time with my son, and as appreciative as I am of all of this, it is so exhausting watching a baby and watching a toddler. Watching a toddler more so. I thought watching a baby was hard. Watching a toddler is much harder. Like, it's harder to watch the boy now than it's ever been. I remember when Mello was like 7 or 8 months old, and I would watch him. Like, my wife used to go into work once a week. So from when he was like 5 or 6 months old to when he was like around 8 or 9 months old, my wife used to go into work once a week. Once a week. She went into work on Wednesdays. And I would watch my son the whole day. Not even the whole day, because she'd be back in time for bedtime. And, like, it used to just fuck me. It used to fuck me. Like, by the end of the day, I would be so, like, flustered and tired and upset. But, like, now that I think about that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, all he could do was roll. All he could do was roll. He couldn't even crawl at the time. And, like, he would roll under the couch and just, like, play with the tag on the bottom of the couch for 45 minutes. You know? Like, it was easy. Now, he like, no space is big enough for the boy. And he only wants the things that he can't have, you know? And it's fucking cute, and it's fun to a degree. But, like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of doing this 10 hours a day, it just tires you out. I was thinking about this recently, like, the type of fatigue that you get from watching a very small child all day. It is very similar in, like, feeling to the way that I used to feel after I worked a long retail shift. And not like a night shift. I spent about a decade working in retail, a few different retailers. Zara for like a year or two, Uniqlo for like 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and this store called Brooklyn Industries, which was like a chain in Brooklyn. Obviously, there was a store in Manhattan, in Chicago, and a store in Portland, I think, as well, for like 3 or 4 years as well. Anyway, what the long baby shift reminds me of is the big box retail shift. So I grew up in New York City. So when I say I worked at Uniqlo, I worked at the Uniqlo on 34th Street in Herald Square. And when I say I worked at Zara, I worked at the Zara on 34th Street in Herald Square. Oh my goodness, this child just slipped and fell on the ice trying to get to the bus. Oh, this poor girl. Oh, she's laughing. Okay. Oh, I want to tell him I saw that, but I'm not going to do that. That was funny. I remember my first, like, big box shift. Zara was the first one I worked at. I was 19 years old, and I had never worked in retail before. And I got this job because, like, I spent a year. I, like, really did not do well my first year in college, so I came home for a year. And I needed to get a job for that year, and my girlfriend at the time had a friend that worked at the Zara in the city, so I wound up getting a job there. Never worked in retail before, and during, like, my first shift, I remember going downstairs into the bathroom, and, like, I didn't have a breakdown. If I had, I like, don't know that I would have been able to return to the sales floor. But I did, like, stand there breathing and trying not to cry for 5 or 6 minutes. You know, and that may seem dramatic. Probably, I mean, I guess it is dramatic. But it's really hard working in retail. You're just like, and not all retail. Because when I worked at Brooklyn Industries and, like, they moved me to quiet, like, Brooklyn stores, relatively quiet, it was easy. But working in retail in the borough in Midtown Manhattan in a big box store, it is awful. It's just this, like, never-ending barrage of people demanding things of you. And, like, let me tell you, man, the customers are not nice. They are not kind. They are not nice. They are, for the most part, I'll say charitably, they are oblivious to the fact that retail workers are human beings who probably have been standing in the same spot for 5 hours, fielding the same questions over and over again. So at the end of a long retail shift, I used to feel very similarly to how I feel at the end of, like, any given day with my son. Not exactly, because there's also, like, a great deal of joy, although I did find I mean, I made great friends in retail, great friends. I've romanticized it after the fact, too, a bit. So it was pretty horrible. And this is not that horrible. But, like, just in terms of, like, the type of fatigue that you feel, it's very similar. And I was thinking about this recently. Like, why is it? Because a lot of the time that I'm watching my son, I'm sitting, you know? Like, not a lot of it. Maybe, like, 20% of the time that I'm watching my son, I'm sitting. It's not like I'm, like, on my feet all day. When I worked in retail, it was 100% of the time I was standing. Like, you cannot sit. You can't sit. At Uniqlo, they used to have this saying, you lean, you clean, because you weren't allowed to lean on things, and if they caught you leaning, they would make you go clean something. But, like, the type of fatigue feels very similar. And I think it's because, like, it's like this mental thing where you can't be off ever when you're watching a little baby. Like, you cannot turn your brain off, or a small child, whatever. You can't turn your brain off at all. You like always need to have one or two eyes on them. So even when I'm sitting down, like, I am poised to jump up and snatch this boy out of whatever dangerous situation he has gotten himself into at any given moment. And even when he's, like, napping in the middle of the day, right? Like, I may be sitting and, like, just, like, sprawled on the couch soaking up the gravity, but, like, I'm also listening for him to start crying. And, like, if he does, I'm gonna need to jump up and get him. And, like, that is mentally exhausting. I'm not, like, I'm not really chilling out. I'm kind of just waiting. And waiting is very different from, like, open-ended relaxation. So when I sit for the first time in the day, like, after he's asleep for the night, after my wife, like, takes him and brings him into his room to soothe him to sleep and put him in his crib for the night, it feels like the first time I'm sitting all day. And it's not because it's the first time, like, my ass is sitting. It's the first time my brain is sitting. So if my wife gets truly sick, then our 3-day nice in-laws visiting date night weekend where I get to chill out and she watches the boy for the most part, because it's been a very long week of watching the boy for me, especially since she was gone all day yesterday, is now going to turn into 3 days of me taking care of my wife and taking care of my baby and then going back to work. And it's just a real shame, real waste of a 3-day weekend. And I am mad at this personal trainer for feeling sick and still taking clients. I'm mad at her for feeling sick and still taking a pregnant client with a compromised immune system. I'm a little annoyed at my wife because she said she got there and this lady was like, I feel sick. And my wife was like, oh, cool. What workout are we doing today in close proximity to each other? So, like, but, like, I'm not, you know, yes, I am angry that this happened, and I am kind of mad at my wife for not having better judgment, but, like, there's no point in holding on to that second piece of it, because she's mad at herself, and, like, me being mad isn't gonna help. And also because, like, if she gets sick, like, that sucks, and she's gonna be feeling physically shitty as well as being mad about the whole situation. So, like, I'm not gonna make it worse by making a thing at her about it. I think we will commiserate together, and we can both, like, kind of scapegoat this personal trainer a little bit while I hypocritically go do the same thing and infect everyone in this gym. Look, I feel fine, okay? Maybe I'm not going to infect anyone. I'm going to wipe all the equipment down. I'm not fucking kissing anyone at the gym. I'm going to go in there, though, so yeah. That's today. It's Friday, I think. It is. It is certainly Friday. Oh, I think it did. All right, so still here. I thought I was gonna cut it after the trip here, but I feel like I need to just talk myself through this a little bit. I'm gonna feel stupid if I'm just sitting in the car talking out loud to myself. So you imaginary audience get to hear this. What's interesting about, like, recording content like this, right? Notwithstanding the fact that, like, in my case, it's pretty guaranteed that not many people are going to see it, is that, like, regardless of whether people wind up seeing it or not, in the moment that you're recording it, it is to yourself. It is to no one. You know, so like even if I had a following of like, you know, 50,000 people, you could say to yourself like, yeah, I'm actually speaking to 50,000 people right now, but I'm not. You're not. You're speaking to nobody until you upload it. Then maybe people watch it. But at any point before then, you throw it out, and then you did just spend a half hour talking to yourself in the car. It's just interesting how, like, for me, turning on this camera, turning on this microphone makes me more comfortable talking through my thoughts than if I were just sitting alone, when functionally they're the same thing. I am sitting alone. And even after I upload it, like, it's not like I'm talking to really that many people. Anyway, so I'm angry, and I'm having a hard time figuring out what to do, what actions to take right now, because I just really was looking forward to having a long weekend with some help watching the baby, and like I was looking forward to this visit from the in-laws to hang out with them on top of just the assistance with the baby they would provide and like the enabling of my wife and I to go on a date. So I was really looking forward to this weekend, and like now I don't get it, and it's not like it's going to be kicked down the road and I'm going to get it later. Like, the amount of time between now and when my wife gives birth is like 4 months, and those weekends are packing up real fucking quick, you know? I am losing time, and I'm not gaining anything from this. And like, I understand, like, there's a duplicity to the situation, right? Because like, I'm trying to be as present as I can. I'm trying to be as appreciative as I can of my life. I know that, you know, in a decade I'm going to look back and wish that I could hang out with my little baby boy again. I understand that. And that's true, and that remains true in spite of the other things that exist concurrently. But those things do exist. The fatigue, the desire to like have some type of a break. Like, think about it this way. Getting some time off periodically allows me to better appreciate the time that I spend with my son. You know, like if I'm doing it just all the time, back to back to back to back to back to back to back, it gets increasingly difficult to like keep myself level and to stay present and to like be grateful of the position that I'm in. It gets more and more difficult, and like I'm still gonna try to do it, you know, like it's not like I just like throw in the towel when it gets a little difficult. I do sometimes, and like that's something that I'm working on with myself, but like it's just gonna be more and more difficult. And like every single part of me, not every part, but like a large part of me just wants to like take the route of anger, even though I know it's not correct. Like why does my wife need to do a million extracurricular activities? Why didn't she just leave when her physical trainer said that she was sick? Like, if she didn't need to go to yoga after work and then to physical training after work and then to all of this other stuff, like, it would be less difficult for me to fathom that now my weekend has turned into 3 more days of childcare exclusively. Like, and just like I all of that makes me so angry. Like the lost time, the missed opportunity, the wasted plans that we had, everything that I was looking forward to. It makes me really mad. But like, being angry about it is stupid. It is stupid. It doesn't solve anything, and it's certainly not going to make anything better. It will make my wife feel worse. It will ultimately make me feel worse, in spite of like maybe it feeling good in a weird way at the time to be, you know, righteously angry about it. Like I know that I'm correct in like that I'm justified. I feel justified, but like, just because your anger is justified doesn't mean that you should do things out of anger, I guess, is the fact that I know intellectually, but that, like, I'm having a hard time dealing with, because I am angry. And every instinct that I have, right? Not the, like, rational-minded sort of reasoning that I have, but my instincts, my impulses are telling me, act angry. They're telling me, like, voice your displeasure, make sure everyone around you knows how badly they have fucked up. Like, let them know that they have fucked you and that you are mad about it. But, like, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. Let's think about it, right? Like, so what do I do then? What do I do then? Because my decision is that I'm not going to act out of anger. That's my decision. I may fuck up and act out of anger in some, like, way. I know I'm not going to, like, kick the door in and, like, be mad. I'm going to try my best not to be any kind of, like, angry acting, you know, and that includes being passive-aggressive or subtly, like, being passive-aggressive. I was just going to use other words to say passive-aggressive, but, like, I am choosing not to act angry. I am choosing not to act passive-aggressive. But then what do I do? You know, how do I act? Because I don't feel capable of acting, like, warm, forgiving, and accommodating right now. I know I need to be accommodating, but I don't feel like, I don't feel like enjoying it, you know? And then the question is, like, why don't you feel like enjoying it? And I guess the answer is because I want my wife to know that she has fucked me. I want my wife's personal trainer to know that she has fucked us. But that's not going to do anything. That's not going to do anything. So, like, let's say I choose to just be happy, right? Let's say I choose to just relax and just act like this is good and like I'm enjoying it and like I'm enjoying this extra 3 days of labor that have been given to me. Part of the reason I don't want to do that is out of spite. Like, I've been fucked. I've had something taken from me. I'm not going to make anyone else's life easier right now. Fuck them, is how I feel. And that's just wrong. That is a wrong way to feel. That is a stupid, self-destructive, selfish, simultaneously selfish and self-destructive way to feel. I guess not way to feel, right? Because I do feel that way and I can't really help it. But it would be a selfish and self-destructive way to act. To be spiteful. To make sure that I have a bad time because I just don't want, because I feel like having a good time will make life easier for those around me, but I'm mad at those around me. It's stupid. It's stupid. So I need to do my best. But, like, I don't want to do my best. I want to do my worst. And I don't want to, but I don't want to just land in the middle, you know? Like, I guess what I'm thinking in my rational mind is that this is an opportunity for me to put into practice a lot of the things that I think about all the time, which is how to better handle when things don't go the way that I expected them to. That's something I think about a lot. It's something that I have trouble with. It's something I'm having trouble with in real time right now. But this is an opportunity to change that. It is. It is an opportunity to. It's like when I'm quitting weed, which is like, you know, a semi-monthly experience for me over the last few years. It doesn't feel good at the time, you know, like the first day without weed. It's like, even though I know for a fact at this point that going the day, by the end of the day or by the next day, I'm going to be like, okay, that wasn't that bad, and I'm glad that I did it. Which it's happened every single time. In the moment that I have to do it, it doesn't feel good. But I have learned through repetition that I can do it and that afterwards I will not regret it. I will be glad that I did it. So why shouldn't the same thing apply to this, right? Why shouldn't it, Cello? You go into this situation, you act the fucking best. You've never done it before, right? Now I'm just talking to myself. I've never done this before. I've never, like, just been like, fuck it, I'm gonna completely ignore my... I've never done well at, like, ignoring my negative impulses and simply being as, like, flexible and accommodating and selfless and warm as I can in the process. I've never done it. I know that I can do it because there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to. And I feel like maybe if I do, right, if I just fucking do it, as much as it is antithetical to what I want and what I feel like I should do, if I just do it, maybe it'll turn out really well. Maybe afterwards I'll feel really good in a way that I didn't expect, or at the very least, because I do kind of expect it, that I don't understand right now. And maybe having that understanding will make it easier for me next time I'm in a situation like this to also take the route of accommodating pacifism. This is an opportunity to do that. I really hope that I am able to take this opportunity. I am going to try very hard to take this opportunity. And I think that that's the way that I need to frame it in my mind. We lost an opportunity to go on a nice date. We lost an opportunity to have a nice dinner. We lost an opportunity to have a nice weekend. But we're gaining an opportunity to learn a lesson that will serve us really well in the future, because guess what? This is not going to be the last time that this happens. You know, my life is simple now compared to how it's going to be in a few years. So, like, I should take this opportunity because it will serve me much better than the other option. All right, this works. I think I'm gonna try my best, and I think this is gonna be all right. I'm behind a garbage truck right now, like quarter mile from my house, like a tenth of a mile from my house, and because of all the snow, the roads are too narrow for me to get around him. So this is just gonna be a long last leg of the trip. This is so annoying. Having said that, I'm not getting mad about it. The garbage guys around us, they're so accommodating. Like, they do, every time I get stuck behind them, they're doing it right now. These guys are so good. They always get out of my way. Like, they go out of their way to get out of my way, and they're doing it now. I love these fucking guys. Thank you, guys. Like, they were gonna go up here. The guy asked me which way I was going. I told him, and then they went there first. They've done this a number of times for me. They're really, really, really nice. They're so courteous. All right, so there we go. In a nutshell, right? A little fucking, like, example of exactly what I was talking about. The garbage truck gets there, I get angry, but I didn't let myself get too angry about it. And then what happened, you know? Now I feel good. It was a good experience. I feel better now for having been stuck behind the garbage guys and had them be so nice and accommodating to me than I would have had I not been stuck behind them at all. Sometimes the opportunities that arise from the disappointments in our life can yield more fruit than we otherwise would have had without the disappointment there. That is the thing that I intellectually know, but that I need to experientially, I don't know if that's a word, I need to go through the experience of understanding. I know it in my mind, I don't feel it in my fucking bones. My heart and blood want to go on fucking rampages right now. But my brain knows better. And I think that if I can control my heart and my blood and the bones, that maybe the heart and blood and bones will know better too. Slowly, over time, with repetition probably. It's not easy, but this is what, like, I've been on this sort of like stoic dad self-improvement fucking like kick for the last year or two. And this is, I think, a very big step. This is a big step in that. So here we are, we're home. We're gonna do our best. I'll keep you guys posted. Maybe I'll do a sick vlog in a couple days. I hope not.